Hello and welcome to part 2 of the video where I show you how to make this beautiful design. If you've followed part 1, you should already have your 3 sections of beading. We're now going to continue and start to add the braiding. What you'll need is some S-long cord, your Kumihimo disc, a weight and a clasp. A little bit of wire will be helpful as well. So let's get going. You should now have in front of you 2 small sections of beading and 1 longer section. And what we're going to do now is make this longer section into the pendant for the front of the necklace. To do this, you will need a piece of wire of approximately 20 to 25 centimetres. And first of all, we're going to make that into a little spiral at one end using round nose pliers, turning a very small spiral as small and as neat as possible, like that. And then with your flat nose pliers, you can continue to turn it round a little bit more so you have a little focal spiral at the end. Then straighten up the wire and thread on a selection of beads. This is absolutely up to you. I'm just going to thread on one of my 6mm beads. Then I'm actually going to thread on the beaded section, and you'll find there's a very neat gap in the middle for you to thread your wire through. Then another of the 6mm beads. It's up to you, you may want to put some smaller ones on as well, as I did on the original design. Now you're going to start turning a wrapped loop. So again, using your round nose pliers, grip the wire just above the last bead, pull it away from you, change the grip on your pliers, bend the wire over the top to form a loop, and round to almost close the loop, like that. Now, take a bail and thread it on through the tiny opening that you've left. Grip the loop with your pliers and turn the wire a couple of times, wrap it round the stem. Trim off the excess and take a little bit of time to flatten that end, just neaten it in so that there's nothing to catch. And there you have your pendant. Now we're going to move on to the Kumihimo. And we're going to start with our S-long cord. We're going to use regular S-long cord that is 0.5 millimeters in diameter, also known as Tex 210. And for this, you need 4 lengths of 2 meters 40. Fold them in half, and then take another small piece of cord to pull through the beads. Thread this small piece through your loops in the middle, tighten it up, hold it tightly in your hands, and then use that to thread through, first of all, one of the small beaded sections. You might fight back a little bit, you may need a couple of attempts to do this. But there's a neat gap in there for them, which if you just keep pushing, there we go, one of them's coming through, and the other one will be through in a minute. No, it's come out. Just push it. As I say, you might need a couple of attempts to do this, but you will find that you will get them through. There we go. Then pull that through. Then thread through the bail, and then thread through the last beaded section. And again, here they come. There we go. Now you want to centre those 3 pieces on the cords. I'm using slightly shorter cords than I've suggested for you, just for demonstration purposes. Once you're happy that they're centered, trim the loops at one end. Because you fold this in half, you'll have loops there. And tie a knot on either side of the focal section, a neat overhand knot. To ensure that it's neat, pull up individually on each cord once you've done it. Some of them will give a little bit more than others, and those are the ones that were forming into loops. So just make sure you pull on each one to give yourself a neat loop. Then press the focal section close to that first knot and form another knot on the other side. While that's still loose, push it towards the focal section and then do the same thing. To neaten up those loops, you just need to pull on each cord individually. Some will already be tight, some will need to be tightened, and you'll end up with a neat knot. There we go, that's the last one. Now you're ready to use your Kumihimo disc. We're going to use round braid. So for this, you don't need to use the numbers. All you need is the dots in the 4 points of the compass. If you want to, you can write on north, south, east and west, or you can use it on the side with the numbers. It absolutely doesn't matter. What you need to do is thread the cords on one side through the disc and position them on either side of the dots at the points of the compass. Once they're in position, you pull them tight and just make sure that the knot is right in the middle. And the way to achieve good tension with Kumihimo is to make sure that your disc is in good condition so it can grip the cords and keep them nice and tight across the face of the disc. Now what you need to do is perform 8 individual moves without adding any beads. And this is round braid, so what we do is we take the top right cord and move it to the right of the bottom right cord, and then we take the bottom left cord and move it to the left of the top left cord. Then you turn your disc a quarter turn in either direction until you reach the next set of cords and repeat the moves. Tension, because I'm holding this disc at an angle, the tension is slightly more difficult to achieve. If your cords start to look loose, quite simply tighten them up a bit. So once you've done your 8 individual moves, you're now ready to add some beads. And for this design, you need to have 35 beads on 2 diagonally opposite cords. So for instance, this cord is diagonally opposite this cord. So I will thread 35 beads onto each of these cords. I'm going to just do a few for you now. You can stiffen the ends of the S-lon to make it a little bit more like a needle. If you want to, you can do that with clear nail varnish or fray stopper. So for the purposes of the demonstration, I'm just going to put on 4 beads and I'm going to keep them in place with a stop bead, which is quite simply threading the cord twice through the bead in the same direction, pulling it tight so I can move it up and down, because I want to keep those beads quite close to the disc when I'm braiding. It makes it much easier. So for the purposes of demonstration, I'm going to just thread 4 onto this side as well. And again, keep them in position with the stop bead. Now we get on to the braiding with beads. So we've done our 8 individual moves. And what we're going to do, every time we move a cord with beads on, you're going to drop a bead into the center like that and tuck it under the next cord that you are crossing. And it's very important that that bead doesn't jump out of position. It mustn't jump over those cords. And my next move is here. I need to keep an eye on the bead that I've already positioned and on the new bead that I've positioned. Now I'm going to turn my disc and continue with my top down, bottom up moves. If you're in the habit of moving bottom left first, top right second, that's absolutely fine. That comes to the same thing. So I'm going to continue braiding around until I come again to the cords with beads on. And again, drop them into the circle, tuck them under the cord you're crossing, and on the other side. And continue in that manner. That one just needs to be pushed out a little bit. If they have a tendency to jump up, you can just put your thumb on top of them as you're braiding, like that. Right, so continue in that manner, braid in all the beads, all your 35 beads on each side, and then when they're finished, braid for another 10 to 15 centimeters without beads. And this is for the section of the necklace that will be around your neck. So I'll just show you that on the finished design so that it's much more comfortable to have plain braiding next to your neck. And if you want a longer necklace, this is where you can extend the size of the necklace. Once you've completed that, remove the braid from the disc, tie it in a knot, and then repeat on the other side so that you have the second side of the necklace. I'm not going to show the finishing techniques in this video because that's a much longer subject, but you may wish to wire on your ends, or you may wish to use glue-on end caps such as these ones. They're all perfectly suitable for this design. So finish off your necklace with your ends and a clasp, and there you are. Your necklace is complete. Well done. You should now be the proud owner of a beautiful necklace just like this. Have you enjoyed this video? If so, please press like. More importantly, if you'd like to see more, please press the subscribe button, and then you'll be notified all the exciting things I have coming up. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions or ideas, I'm always open to them and I'd love to hear them. So please put them in the comments below. Every design is different and every design is special. Your bead choices and your colour choices will make your necklace unique. So please share them with me. I really love to see what people have made. You can use email or you can use Facebook. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what you've made. Thank you. And once you've got your 3, thread them onto the thread and then run through them all again in the same direction. Each 6mm and each seed bead. I'm using hollow seed beads here, so sometimes as you thread into them you may catch the inner edge. Don't worry about that, just have another go.